Welcome into another week of PTN Extra. Good to be with you, Alyssa Orange, alongside Courtney Mims and Mike Irwin. And as we were talking about what we wanted to talk about in today's show, because there's so much going on, it's really hard to pinpoint down one specific thing. And I think the biggest thing that we want to talk about and look at is with all the breaking news, with Eric Musselman and Hunter Yurachek and the situations and everything being so fluid, the biggest thing that three of us have taken away is the way we've handled this information. And I think that that's really important to talk about because so much stuff is out there. There's so many ways that things can go one way or the other. And as journalists, we've taken a lot of this information, analyzed it, cross-referenced it, and have been able to deliver what we feel comfortable delivering. And Mike, it's something you've been doing your entire career.
Well, what's changed in the last 5 or 10 years is a lot of anger and distrust toward the media. That's not everybody. But what you get is a lot of people, if you report something, they're saying, well, you're just doing that for clicks. You're just trying to get attention. Well, that can't be what we do. I can't take that into consideration. If I come across some information and I confirm it, and I feel like it's something that people need to know about, just because you as a fan may feel like that shouldn't be reported, I don't serve one fan or 10 fans. I have to look at the whole fan base. And even if a lot of them don't want to know something, if it's relevant, it needs to be out there. So you go ahead and do it. And you never do it just to get clicks. I don't know anybody that does that. And then the other thing you get accused of is you're just always taking the company line. The athletic department tells you something and you're afraid of losing access, so you will just do what they say. That is complete nonsense. I don't do it. I don't know anybody else that does it. But it's very easy for people to say that when they don't walk around in your shoes. They don't know what you do every day.
And the biggest thing, Courtney, they teach this in school. I think sometimes as journalists, the hardest part is implementing it and not getting something told to you and immediately wanting to run to social media and put it out there.
Well, then we'd be gossip columnists. And that's the big thing. It's kind of this fine line between journalism and going out there and running and gossiping, right? There's this line of like, okay, we have to confirm this through multiple sources. Like you said, I personally don't feel comfortable putting out everything that somebody tells me. One person, two people, okay. If all of them are the same, if I have 3, 4 sources that I feel confident in, that I'm like, okay, here is this same story being confirmed by 3 to 4 people, you feel confident putting it out there. But if just one person goes and runs and tells you something, gosh, we could be very wrong in all of our reporting. If I told you everything that 1 or 2 people said, a mom or a cousin or a family member heard going on with the program, I'm like, that's just not what we do. So when people come at us and say, hey, where are you getting this information? There's some trust that you have to give us in that, hey, our sources, we're double checking, we're triple checking, sometimes quadruple checking,
Sure.
right? I mean, there's some trust that we kind of ask for in return from the fans.
You know, it's one of those things where when all of us are hearing the same thing from different people, that's when we say, okay, this seems to be something here. And then we move forward, we vet some of our sources even more. We make sure everyone in the room is comfortable reporting. You go back to Hunter Yurachek putting that video out there, and I saw it and I thought, oh, he's announcing that Muss is back again. That was my immediate reaction, which I think a lot of people's were. But then I go, wait a minute, I've seen this video before. The ending is different. And then we all came into this room and we talked about it and realized this might not be what maybe we all thought initially it was, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you kind of look further into it, and then here's what happens. A day, or I think it was a day later, Musselman does this interview on a podcast.
You mean Hunter Yurachek?
Yeah, I mean Hunter Yurachek does this interview. And now there's some things on there that ADs just don't. I would just tell you this whole situation, in the 48 years I've covered Razorback athletics, nothing like this has ever happened before, where you got an AD saying, well, I like this guy and I hope he stays, but I'm not sure if he'll be here tomorrow. You'd have to ask him. That's never happened before, where an AD has publicly said that. So you have to ask yourself, what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean that he's just messing around. Like some people, he did hurt himself a little bit when he commented on the original Must Bus video by saying, I was just having fun. That made people think, well, maybe he's just having fun with this. No, this is a totally different thing. And then, of course, we find out the next day that he's actually, Eric Musselman's actually going to interview for the job. And again, this is so unusual. I can't think of a single Razorback coach successful in a major sport that publicly interviewed for another job and then didn't take it. They've always taken it. And this is why a lot of us think he's going to get the, that it was just inevitable.
Yeah, and you just look at the situation and handle it, and you look at social media again and how easy it is to put information up there. And just because information isn't put out there, it doesn't mean information isn't known.
Yeah,
I
think that is a great thing to apply right now. Whether a coaching search happens or it doesn't, there are going to be things that are said behind the scenes. There are going to be things. We are doing our jobs. We are looking at different things that we're hearing. We are going and verifying those things. But things happen so quickly. These situations are so fluid. When you're talking about a coach staying at a university, when you're talking about a coaching search happening at a university, things happen so quick. And Razorback fans, if you look at history, they should know that. I mean, Dana Altman came here and then said,
he was a coach for a day.
I was coach for a day, and they left. Those things happen. These situations are so fluid. I always say when you go into these situations, you're like, expect anything, because anything can happen.
Mike, you say that, there are Razorback fans that are like, well, you only put this out there when it's your benefit, or you're only at the beck and call of the athletic department. I think we should also mention that, we have bosses and we have standards as journalists and the company that we work for, that if we're blatantly wrong, I'm not worried about the athletic department. I'm worried about my boss in the corner office who I have to go answer to, and I've got to explain to them, here is where I heard it from, and this is why I felt like saying it. So that's really where a lot of this comes from as a journalist, that the athletic department isn't a thing. I would like to still have a job when I come to work the next day if I'm that blatantly wrong. Mike, I want to talk about something that happened before Courtney got here. And it's a great example that we learned from, was when they were searching for the athletic director and they hired Hunter Yurachek. And what happened with us, and we had really good sources that said it was going to be the Tulsa AD. And so we broke that. We broke that it was going to be the Tulsa AD, and it didn't actually happen. But we had vetted our sources. We had really good authority that was going to happen, and it didn't. And of course, we had to go and we had to issue a retraction and all of that. I mean, we have gotten to a point where we felt good about it and we were still wrong.
Well, the source was a sitting coach at Arkansas. That was the source. So what happened was another coach at Arkansas actually had some issues with that, went to them and explained, look, you might not want to hire this guy because of this, 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 and this. And they went, oh, okay. And then they didn't. So our report wasn't inaccurate at the time that we made it. That's the other issue that you deal with. Sometimes what you're reporting is true when you're reporting it, but things happen afterward behind the scenes that you don't know anything about that change the story completely. That doesn't mean you were inaccurate. You were just, it changed. Mm-hmm. And that's an example of a story that changed.
And it's so hard on social media because you tweet something in the now, right now, and then people sometimes like to use it against you 3 days later.
Yeah, that's freezing cold takes. That's their account. They love using what people say 2 or 3 days ago, or weeks ago, or months ago, even years ago, and they like to use it against them. That's the nature of social media. And I think that us as journalists, we're always navigating this social media world. I know Mike deals with it all the time. You deal with the haters on social media all the time. But we're always dealing with this new world and new things that get added to it. And it makes things almost so much more important to make sure you check your facts. You don't want to always be first. You want to check what you're doing. And you're right. I'm more worried about my bosses than I am about the athletic department. I'm going to be honest. I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah, well, no, it's the way that it is. And I think, this is how you have to go about things if you want people to trust what you put out there. And it goes to the credibility that you build over a 47-some-year career or a 20-year career or just getting into your career. You're building that credibility, and it's so easy to lose it. And so we really, really respect that. And it's interesting to see all the crazy things that have happened specifically with this Eric Musselman future and what this coaching search is going to look like and how everything is going to unfold. But I think it was important for our audience to kind of hear the way we go about deciding what to report and what not to report. So
I hope they enjoyed it.
thank you guys for the open conversation. Hopefully they kind of see a little bit of a glimpse into our world and how all that unfolds. As for the future, man, we got no idea right now. So we just gonna sit back and wait like you guys. And so we're gonna take a break, and coming up after the break, we've got Jordyn Wieber in studio with us to talk about the Arkansas Fayetteville regional happening at Bud Walton Arena this upcoming week. That's next. Welcome back to PTN Extra. So excited to have Jordyn Wieber here in studio with us as we get ready for the regionals here in Fayetteville. Your team hosting a handful of other teams for the next couple of days. And it's an exciting time right now on the Hill and for your girls as they continue their postseason run.
Yeah, I mean, we're just excited. I mean, it's called regionals, but it very much is for us like the first couple rounds of the national championship with the round of 32 and then 16 on Saturday. So we're excited. I mean, we feel like we're peaking at the right time, and so we want as many people as possible to come out and support our team in this postseason run.
And you guys are going to be at Bud Walton Arena, which you guys had 198 the last 2 times that you were able to be in that building. Is there something just about being in front of that big of a crowd that maybe gets your girls' juices flowing a little bit?
I think so. I mean, we love being in Bud Walton. It's, you know, one of our new home arenas, which feels really good. And then to be able to do the last 2 home regular season home meets in that arena as well as regionals, it's really prepared us to feel comfortable and feel at home for regionals this weekend.
How do we feel about our team right now?
Oh, we feel amazing. I mean, we've had such a great season. We've broken our team program record 3 times this season. I mean, most people, that happens once every couple years, and we've done it 3 times in one season. So they're on fire right now. I feel like we're peaking at the right time. They're as healthy as we can be at the end of the season, and so they're just kind of ready. They're just excited. We've had a great week of training, and I really feel like they're going to shine on Thursday.
You had Lauren Williams and Nora Flatley go and compete as individuals last year at nationals. What would it mean for your program and the trajectory you want to take it to have the team qualify this year?
Well, it would mean that we've reached our goal. I mean, that has been our goal all season. The team expressed to us that making nationals is something they felt like was both realistic and, you know, their big goal for this season in particular. We feel like it's possible. I feel like if we just go out there and do our normal and be ourselves, which when we're being ourselves, I feel like that's when we do our best gymnastics. So I think anything is possible for this team, and I think we need as many people there as possible cheering us on to help us get there.
Looking at this field, do you like who you've got coming in? You've got some SEC people that you've already faced already, and obviously a lot of other ranked teams as well. And so how do you like the teams that are coming in?
You know, I feel like our seeding is good. We put ourselves in a really good position, being 12th going into the postseason ranking. So, you know, the first day of competition, we're against Kentucky, Arizona, and Nebraska. All 3 teams we've already seen so far this season and beat so far this season, so that's a good sign. You know, day 2, we obviously first goal is to advance to day 2, and once we get to day 2, I feel like if we just go out there and do our thing, and if we have a great night, I feel like I said, anything is possible for the team.
Has the season flown by for you? I feel like we were just talking about it getting going in January.
It has flown by. I feel like that's a good thing, right? That means, you know, we've been having a lot of fun. It's just, honestly, as a coach, I've just been having a blast coaching these girls. They're so fun to work with. Not to mention, every time we finish a great meet and we have success, we get back in the gym the next day, and they're so fired up to work on that next level and figure out what details we can improve on. And that just makes it really rewarding for me. And, you know, when we go to those meets, I just expect excellence from them, and that's what they're providing the whole season.
And again, inside Bud Walton Arena, for the fans, we've talked about how big their support is. So again, the message to just come out and continue to support this squad.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Thursday at 1 o'clock, we know that's random, but you know, if you could take a sick day or take a vacation day and bring your kids and bring as much energy into that arena as possible, I promise you're going to see some awesome gymnastics. And then on Saturday, obviously, day 2 should be 4 really, really strong teams, and we're obviously hoping to advance to that day and then be there, and who knows what will happen from there.
A home crowd advantage is what they're looking for, and they know they can get it. I'm super excited to see you guys continue to compete for at least 2 more days, and hopefully at that national meet as well. Jordyn, thanks so much for joining us in studio as always.
Thanks for having me.
That's going to do it for PTN Extra. We'll see you next week.